Okay, you guys, we got the legendary, the mythical, the 100K sub man. Congratulations. Daxake back in the building with us today. Dragon at God Valley. Last we talked, we did not get to God Valley yet. What are your thoughts on seeing a young Monkey D dragon here on this island? Have you been impressed by his performance? Do you like where the story's going with him? How do you feel about this guy?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely love that Oda did that. That's one thing that I think a lot of people kind of believed was going to happen or at least had stocks in happening, because Oda's kind of made Dragon look bad thus far in the story, you know what I mean? Like, for the most part, or at least he's tried to lately, right? He's trying to make people think, like, what is Dragon really doing? Does he do anything? And now we're getting a glimpse of, like, oh, yeah, like, Dragon is kind of the hero that we're all kind of hoping he would be, I think, or at least a lot of people were hoping that he would be. So I love everything we've seen from him for sure. That's like, it's definitely who I wanted him to be, and like kind of the thought process that I was hoping he would have. And also kind of the same for Garp, because a lot of people were, ragging on Garp early, but now it seems like, Dragon and Garp are closer to the same page than it seemed at first, right? Garp doesn't necessarily like it either. But as for Dragon specifically, I love the connection with Shanks. I think that's super awesome. I love kind of the parallel with like him saving Shanks and Aerith saving Blackbeard. I think that is just like their fates are so, intertwined. But I also think it's really important because not only are their fates intertwined, back then, but does this potentially mean that their fates will be intertwined in the future as well? Meaning, we're wondering about what's happening in the Holy Land. Is the reason why we're seeing now that Blackbeard and Dragon and Shanks are all tied to the same event? Is that because maybe they're going to be tied to the same event in the future? Like, because Blackbeard and Dragon have already kind of been at odds a little bit. Like, remember Blackbeard went after Baltigo to take over his base. So it's like there's already been this little through line there. Lafitte was like, checking out the Bondolas and stuff. So it's like there's this little Blackbeard and Revolutionary Army thing. So I love everything we've seen from God Valley from Dragon, but now I'm just curious on where Oda's going to kind of take this from here.
It's funny, you mentioned Blackbeard, and it's so odd. Blackbeard's a really weird character nowadays. I get that he wants to get revenge on Emu, potentially the entire world, but why on Dragon? Dragon has kind of been like the good guy of God Valley. And then not just that, but Shanks. You mentioned Shanks, like, oh, like they have that parallel where they're both rescued from that island. And it's like, you'd think Blackbeard would look at Shanks as a kindred spirit, but that's not the case. They're actively kind of at each other's throats. And it's like, well, what's going on here? Does Blackbeard hold a grudge for what Garling did? Which I think would be kind of interesting if that was the case, because it kind of goes against Whitebeard's teachings, right? Whitebeard told all of his kids, hey, you shouldn't hold the sins of a father on the child. That's what he told Squard. Like, there's no reason to fight with Ace. I mean, Roger did that, not Ace. So maybe that's Blackbeard's mindset. It's like the opposite of that, where it's like, oh, no. Shanks is related to Garling. Garling participated on that island. F Shanks, which I think falls in line because Blackbeard did betray Whitebeard in the end.
And what's really interesting, and I've been debating doing a video on this, and last time we did a video on your channel, we talked about a theory that I did eventually do a video on with the Sanji thing, so maybe the same thing's about to happen today. Shoot, where was I going to... Now I forget exactly where I was going to start this theory from, so it made sense. I guess I'll just say, isn't it weird that now Shanks is the only Fagarland that's actually going after a Davy member? Right? Like, Garling initially it was Garling who was like, yeah, let's go over there and take out the Davy clan. Let's make God Valley the place of our next cleansing. Now it's Shanks that's trying to take out the last remnant of the Davy clan. And Shanks is supposed to be a good guy. It's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where Oda's like that's a deep cut. Not that I'm even sure how deep it goes, but it's like, I don't know, like, because Shanks isn't going after Blackbeard because he's a Davy. It's, a lot of other elements there, I'm sure. But it's like, is there maybe a hint here where, like, I don't know, like, were the Fagarlands really not that bad for doing this? I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
like,
they
are the Davies
everything.
actually bad and dangerous? I don't know. Like, there's just a cool story there with Blackbeard right now. So I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm excited.
It reminds me of the Kurozumi, which, taking out an entire race, wiping them off the map, that's not exactly a good thing. But we even saw it in Wano, right? You miss one or two of them, and then they will grow up to become menaces, like Orochi and Kanjuro. You could say the same for Blackbeard. Like, he's the one surviving, possibly, more could have been pop out away. But seemingly right now, he's the one and only Davy Clan member, and he's kind of evil, right? You could argue the semantics of what is and what isn't evil later. Oda kind of talked about that in the SPS, funny enough. He said, oh, we all have a little bit of a celestial dragon in us, right? It comes down to our reason and morals, which everybody's different. But yeah, like going after Blackbeard, I think that's fascinating. Because Shanks, I think he's in a position, we don't know for sure, but I like to believe he knows about the prophecy, right? He knows about Joy Boy.
Yeah.
He knows about how to take down Emu, possibly because of Roger and Laughtail. So, like, why go after Blackbeard? Like, if he could be the one to take down the ruler of the world, why go after him? Is he just too evil? Does he only want Sun God Nika or Luffy to do it? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's tough because like you could reason it as just like, you know, Blackbeard's evil or bad and Shanks wants to take him out to protect people, or is it that Shanks knows some bigger lore from the past and thus he wants to kind of mess with the prophecy? It's like, okay, I know the prophecy says that this guy is going to do this thing, but maybe I can stop it. You know, maybe I can either help Luffy, I can, you know, help Joy Boy, whatever. You know, or I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you could reason that. And what all of that kind of leads me to think is that the stuff that's going on in the Holy Land right now, I think it almost has to end with Shanks and Blackbeard fighting. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how that all shakes down. In my mind, it could be that maybe Dragon started it, Blackbeard followed Dragon, thus kind of paralleling, Blackbeard following Luffy into Impel Down, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to let the monkey family member go in first and I'll follow, right? It'll be easier that way. So maybe Dragon goes in first, Blackbeard follows, Blackbeard tells the government, hey, you need help with the biggest criminal in the world? All right, I'll do it if you make me a king, because that's what he already wants to do. And then maybe Shanks shows up after that and is like, well, I don't know about that. And then you have this, you know, Shanks and Dragon versus Blackbeard and the government kind of situation. I don't know. There's got to be some way where all these things intertwine, because like I said earlier, I think that's the reason Oda is intertwining them now. It's like, well, before I show you all these people show up in the Holy Land, it'll make a whole lot more sense if I show you how they all connected in the past, right? Because the Gods Knights, Dragon, Shanks, Blackbeard, they're already intersected, but they're probably going to again, I think.
And we can't forget about one person, a half of the coin in this situation, but Shamrock. When we first saw Shamrock, we didn't know it was him. We thought it was Shanks. But he went up to the Gorosei and said, hey, there's a certain pirate I want to talk to you about. Very well, that pirate could be Blackbeard. Imagine that. Both brothers going against the same pirate and both have different interactions with him. It's like, wait, why do they both not like him? For Shanks, it kind of makes sense because of the scar, but we don't even know why they fought in the first place. Did they just run into each other and they just clashed? Which, like I said, doesn't make sense because at that point in time, Blackbeard was still working under Whitebeard. How did they cross paths and fight? Like, because, I mean, you know, obviously Blackbeard was under Thatch and Ace and all them. So it's like, huh? Like, what? Really? Why did they clash? Like, it's like if somebody were to run up against the Straw Hats and then they had a clash with Usopp. Like, how does that confrontation happen? What the hell?
Especially because didn't Whitebeard not know the scar that Shanks had came from Blackbeard? I'm pretty sure Shanks broke that news to him in their discussion. So going back to your example, like imagine if, you know, someone later comes up to Luffy, it's like, hey, did you know that like a year ago Usopp scarred me? Like this scar came from your sniper. Like it'd be like, well, when? How? What?
He did
when?
That?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a year ago would be the time skip, so like that was not a good example. But yeah, like anytime they would have been together, it's like that would be a very shocking reveal. It's like, well, how did you do that without anybody noticing? What? Why? When did this fight happen? What's the beef? But like, there'd be so many questions, right? And so I think with the Shanks and Blackbeard thing, I haven't even really thought about that, but that is an interesting angle where we don't even know why that fight happened. And so that might tell us right there that Shanks does know some lore and he's maybe messing with the prophecy. It's like, hey, Blackbeard, like, I know you're not really anything right now, but I know who you're like destined to be, or I know what you're trying to do. Like, I know what the future, you know, holds for you, and I can't let that happen. And like, that's where it all started. And that leads me into a whole other can of worms, which we talked about on Redacted, where like, I think whenever Blackbeard sleeps, he's got to have a reversey transformation, a, you know, Gorosei zone thing. I don't know. He's got to have some secret sauce whenever he falls asleep that led to that scar, I think. But either way, yeah, I don't know. There's a big story here coming with the Shanks and Blackbeard thing for sure.
And then plus, like, we don't know if Shanks actually got abyss powers during that time because he had like the mark or like some kind of weird world government tattoo on him. But it's like, bro, if Shanks had extra powers when he fought Blackbeard, that's even crazier. And that could be why he fought Blackbeard in the first place. Maybe he was up at the Holy Land, which we know Shanks went there and he saw Harold and all that stuff. So maybe like Garling was like, hey, if you want to join us again, you have to go fight Blackbeard. Or, ooh, the Holy Land commands thee. And then Shanks, you know, acting as a double agent maybe, he's like, yeah, I'll go fight Blackbeard. I'll see what's up. And then boom, we get that crazy interaction and maybe he loses there. Yeah. I think there could be a lot of fun things coming out of it. And I do think we will get this pretty soon. We talked about it on Redacted as well, which I don't know if the video's out yet, but we talked about how after God Valley, we're not going to die down, right? I think Oda knows that people are here for God Valley. He's captured a lot of people's attention. He wants to keep it that way. So I think after God Valley, yes, we're going to see King Harold and Loki, but we're also going to see Shanks because he's at the Holy Land at that time. We might even see Mihawk if he has Celestial Dragon ties. I think he's either from the Nerona family or Bavette family. Him and Shanks could have started the rivalry there. And then, of course, we'll learn about Blackbeard some more and how maybe he's an existing member of the Davy clan and maybe somebody knows. Maybe Garling saw Akuma paw them away and he doesn't want to tell Emu. I think that'd be really interesting. Like, oh, like, actually, we blundered and I don't want to worry the Great One, so let's just kill him on the side. Shanks, please do this. Shamrock, please do this.
And that's cool. He's like a mercenary almost for the Gods Knights in a way. It's like, all right, if you want to join, go take out the last Davy member. And then he failed. That'd be really cool.
Or maybe Shanks like doesn't want to kill the last one because, you know, I don't think Shanks wants to help the world government, but maybe he just wants to see what's up, so he does fight Blackbeard anyways.
So do we know the timing of when Shanks went to the Holy Land? Were we given that? I don't think so. We don't
know exactly. It was just mentioned at the start of the King Harold flashback, which was 14 years ago. So anywhere 14 years plus, Shanks hit the Holy Land.
Okay. And then how long, when did he get the scar from Blackbeard? I don't think we know, but I think
no exact timeline. But before he meets Luffy.
Yeah, it's between 19 and 14 years ago, if I remember correctly. Something like that. Because we saw him in the Uta thing without a scar. And I can't remember, but I think it's ringing a bell. I did a video where I narrowed it down. I think it's somewhere between 19 and 14. All I was going to say is, like, it would also be interesting if it was the opposite, where Shanks went and tried to kill Blackbeard but failed and noticed, oh, Blackbeard has these weird abyss powers. He uses the circles, whatever. And then Shanks went to the Holy Land because he's like, I got to figure out how these work, right? Could be reverse. I think that I think the timeline's not as favorable for that, but that would still be a really cool plot line. Like, I just need to figure out enough so I know what he's doing and then I can beat him, right? Like, that's all Shanks wanted. That would be kind of cool.
It's like a horror movie where your house is haunted and then you're like, okay, how do I fight this ghost? Well, let me go to church real quick. It's like, Blackbeard has the best powers. Let me go to the Holy Land. I got to fight.
Let me learn how to do an exorcism.
Yeah. Funny, we kind of like got away from the main topic so quickly. I thought about that. I was like, wait, I probably have like Dragon as a thumbnail. So we'll get back to him for a second. We can hop back to Shanks and Blackbeard in a moment. But Dragon on this island, like you said, very altruistic, kind of what we expected from him.
Yeah.
Last we saw in 1164, he is on his knees saying, I can't even save one tiny baby. Where did he go? I don't think he's done yet. Kind of like how Akuma just keeps on coming back for more and more W's. I think Dragon's going to be the same way. He couldn't save Shanks or Shamrock. Obviously, Eris and Teacher off the island. I don't think Dragon's simply going to go back to the Marine ship and head home. I think he's going to stick around. And this could be where he runs into Garling or Emu, or just the God Knights in general. Because he does have, like, that first-hand information, right? He said, hey, like, we, the Revs, are not going to move until they make their move first. He knows their power. Maffy, yes. Maffy kind of beat him down. But I don't think he put the fear of God into him from Maffy alone. I think he's going to see more on this island. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think he's going to fight anybody? Yeah. Or do you think he's just simply done?
I don't think he's going to fight anybody per se. I mean, he could, but I feel like he's just kind of young. He's a raw prospect at this point, you know? Like, I don't know.
Like episode 1 Kobe.
Yeah, like this seems more like Dragon's moment to realize how far the gap is, or how big the gap is between him and all these people. You know, I think that's mainly what Oda's showing. So, like, if he were to actually fight, he would just get no diffed anyway. So, like, I don't think he's actually going to fight for that reason, but I agree that we are not done with Dragon here. And I think Oda's actually kind of like slyly building that storyline up, because like you just brought up that moment where he's like, I couldn't even save one tiny baby, like where did he go? Like, to me, this is Dragon being in like dire straits to the point where he's like, trying to find some kind of purpose or some kind of like belief in himself, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He's still building up to being the dragon that he is today, and I think we're gonna have a big moment. I don't think it's gonna be a fight, but I do think he's gonna have a moment where either maybe he like steps in the way to block an attack so somebody can escape, or maybe he's gonna just see something or hear something that he shouldn't have, and it's gonna be like very eye-opening, where it's like, okay, I have to escape and live because this information is so important. Like there's going to be a big moment coming for him, is what I'm getting at. And it's hard for me to pick what it is. I thought this chapter, whenever like we saw Dragon, freaking out over losing Shanks, and then immediately went over to Kuma, who's like, there's still people who need help. I thought this was going to build up to where Kuma was going to paw Dragon away, and it was going to be like the beginning of their relationship. But no, it was even better than that. But that could also be an option where like maybe Dragon does hear something that's really important, or he finds something that's important, and then he meets Kuma and is like, can you get me out of here? Because like it's that important for him to live. Kind of like how Momo was like, oh, I can't die. Like during Wano, like he realized, okay, it's way too important for me to, like I gotta live no matter what. I think Dragon's going to be in a similar situation, if I had to guess.
It's funny you say that, because Kuma is one of the main reasons why I thought that Dragon wasn't here. At first, I really loved the idea that a young Dragon's at God Valley. Oh, the timeline fits. He should be like 16, 17. Like, it's perfect.
Right.
And then we got the Kuma flashback. Not only did we not see Dragon, but Kuma even mentioned, he was like, yeah, Dragon? I love to meet that guy one day while looking at the newspaper. So I said, okay, I guess that confirms that he's not here. But here we have it, like Dragon is here, but simply their paths never really crossed, right? Dragon saved Kuma in the background, didn't know him. Kuma didn't see it. And yeah, that was a real big shocker to me, at least, to see that, Dragon was indeed on the island after all the blue balling. As far as what Dragon could do here, like you said, I don't think he's going to fight because he just get mollywopped. Maybe he needs that, though. I think getting mollywopped isn't bad. It's a good, like, learning experience. But
yeah,
we do know that Dragon, this might shock a lot of people, but Dragon, he's related to Garp and Luffy.
Yes.
That was the punchline.
Okay.
And we saw that Luffy has the voice of all things. Garp in this chapter seemingly has the voice of all things as well. I wouldn't be shocked if Dragon has it too. And he can hear this conversation. He hears the Roger Garp, please kill me. And come next chapter, I think Rox will continue talking to Roger and Garp. Maybe this is how he passes on the will, saying, hey, this monster is blah, blah, blah. There's a treasure out there. I've been looking for it. This is Davy Jones. All while he's fighting them, maybe Dragon is in the background and he's hearing all of this.
I love that.
And not just that, but maybe he even drops lore on the Godhead saying, hey, the regeneration, it stems from this. Like, please, like, I beat Garling by using these abilities. And Dragon is just, taking it all in. And that is what's going on here. Like, this is how Dragon gets all that information. I would love it if that's the case. I think they'll put a lot more, like, onus on, like, his knowledge. Because it's funny, going back to post-Reverie, we had no clue how much Dragon knew about, right? I believe Sabo talked about somebody sitting on the empty throne, and Dragon just hit us with the ... He didn't say a single word. So it's like, okay, does he know about this? Does he not? But since he's here now, I'm like, yeah, I think he knows about all of it. And maybe he didn't see it firsthand. He just heard it through the voice of all things, but Sabo confirmed it as well. I think that'd be awesome. I think that's a great way to do it. And at first, I thought that he might have like a Kobe moment, but I think that'd be too ridiculous where, Kobe jumps in front. He's like, please stop fighting. But if you were to do that now, I think he'd just get killed. There's no slaves on the island anymore, to our knowledge, too. So yeah, I think he's just going to sit on the side.
Yeah, unless it goes back to the Kuma thing, and maybe Kuma just doesn't really know who he is, but he sees a Marine standing up and doing the right thing, and he's like, I gotta save him. And so then maybe later, after he joins the Marines, they put two and two together. It's like, oh wait, that was you that day? Wow. And then they both learn they helped each other. Like, Kuma will learn, oh, you saved me from that Celestial Dragon? Well, actually, I saved you later. And that could be kind of a cool connection. But I do agree with what you're saying. I love the voice of all things idea, because what that would also mean is like Dragon would know a lot of stuff, but without the government knowing he knows it, right? Because Rox is saying it with the voice of all things. So that's why maybe Dragon's like like I was saying, maybe he's thinking, I got to get out of here. Like, no matter what, I have to live because this information's too important. Like, I'm one of the only people who knows it. Nobody knows I know it. Like, I'm way too important to, like, this story at this point. Like, if we're going to stop them, I need to get out of here. I think that actually makes a lot of sense. I am a main character. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I got to go tell the world, right? Yeah. I got to go tell everyone how bad these guys are. Like, this is really what the world's like. Like, I do. And I think that leads to another point is, like, we know Kuma saved, like, 500 people, but I wonder how many people made it out of here who, like, saw Emu or saw some of these transformations. You know, like, how many people managed to escape who are, like, a little bit aware of what's going on. I'm not sure how many, but I would imagine there's some. But I think Dragon's going to be, like, the big one who escapes with, like, all of the intel. Like, all right, it's time to, like, figure this out. We can't let this happen again. You know?
I wouldn't be shocked if after God Valley he talks to Garp about this, because surely they'll have, like, that father-son conversation. Like, hey, Dad,
yeah,
are you cool with this? And then Garp's like, of course not. But I mean, what am I going to do about this, right? Like, and I think that's a very fair takeaway. You know, people rag on Garp, like, day in, day out. Like, oh my God, like, why is Garp sticking around? But it's like, bro, if you see Emu take an attack from every single person you know and respect, and that, you know, whose powers rival yours, and they just looked at you and just, like, waved it off, like, yeah, like, what are you gonna do about this, man? Like, that's a lot to go against. So, you know, I do respect Garp's decision of, like, you know, fostering the next generation, if that's what he's doing. And it's like, yeah, like, you know, that's his choice. And of course, Dragon goes a different direction. But even then, I don't think Dragon leaves the Marines right away. We don't have, like, an accurate timeline on when he disbands from the Marines. But we know that he has some weird relationship with Akainu, and Akainu hasn't joined yet. That's a couple years down the road.
Right.
So I do think Dragon will stick around. Maybe he stays for, like, another 10 years. Maybe he witnesses or hears about another God Valley incident. Maybe there's, like, another Celestial Dragon nonsense thing go down. And then that's when he leaves. I think he's going to be around for a little bit. He might try to follow Garp's pathway of trying to just stick within the Marines and change it from within. And then maybe he'll realize that that's too far. It'll take too long.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting discussion because, like, not that I'm, like, super sold on it, but I do think he's going to leave pretty immediately just because, like, Garp is kind of the person in the middle ground where he's like, I don't like what the government's doing, but I do know that the Marines protect people every day. Like, yes, obviously they, you know, help the government do terrible things sometimes, but on aggregate, the Marines do help common people a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so I think Garp is kind of in the middle ground where he's like, well, I'm willing to put up with this. Like, I'm willing to put up with how horrible they are if I can go help people on the daily, right? That's like, I just want to go, as long as, because, like, he never became an admiral. So he's like, as long as I don't have to help them do this horrible stuff, then maybe I can still be here. But I think Dragon is kind of setting up to be the exact opposite, where he's like, I don't want a single thing to do with these people. But now, with that being said, like I'm not super sold on it because I could see where he stays, and maybe he stays just to get more info, right? It's like, well, I need to stick around to get more intel on, like, Marine operations because that'll help me, you know, do my revolutions later. Or maybe he stays because, you know, people have talked a lot about how Dragon's going to get his devil fruit here. I still really like that idea, but we have not even seen the fruits yet. And, you know, I feel like Dragon could get pawpawed away or just leave any chapter now at this point. Like, I'm not really sure. So I don't know. Maybe he stays till he gets his fruit. I don't know. But either way, I like the Akainu thing is the one thing that would kind of hang me up and be like, it would make sense if, like, Dragon stayed until Akainu joined.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then that created some kind of separation. Maybe they met and it's like they impacted each other somehow. But I also think there's a decent chance, though, that Oda's just going to retcon the Akainu thing. Because wasn't that like in, like, a Beaver card or something like that? I'm pretty sure it was, like, in, like, a supplementary.
Yeah, it was something supplementary. And then, of course, at Marineford, whenever Akainu looks at Luffy, he just calls him Dragon's son. Like, there's some, like, grievance there. It's like a bad breakup. Like, oh, Dragon's son. I'm not gonna let Dragon's son get away. And it's like, bro, like, he has a name, man. He's Straw Hat, Luffy, just anything, man.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
That's
all he could think of.
Not even Garp's grandson. Like, he called him that once, and then he, like, goes back to Dragon.
Like, part of me wonders if the timeline for Akainu is accurate, maybe, like, Dragon went to go help Akainu's island, and Akainu, for some reason, like, didn't like it, and that's what made him join the Marines. It's like, well, I can't have, you know, these revolutionaries coming. Like, he doesn't like pirates, but maybe that could be it, where, like, Dragon like messed with his home island. Like, because technically, if you pay the tribute, you have the Marines protecting you, right? They'll come and help you if you ever like need it. And so that could maybe be a situation where like the Marines showed up to protect them from the revolutionaries, and Akainu, being as young as he was at the time, maybe didn't understand. He's like, well, I like these Marines who are helping. I want to join them. But then maybe now he's starting to figure out, oh, well, the Marines aren't really that great, or like the government's not that great, because like Akainu's already arguing with them a lot, I don't know, man. Whatever that situation is, I really hope we get that after this God Valley stuff. That's like one thing I'm really looking forward to, is some Akainu something somewhere.
And another way we could spin this is that, this is a typical shonen trope. I've seen this like at least 2 times in the last animes I watched, but there could be a chance that maybe Akainu really respected Dragon. Maybe Dragon is the reason why Akainu joined the Marines, and then because Dragon quit, now Akainu's like, okay, that's awful. Like, come on, you're my hero. And now he's like trying to show Dragon that like his way is wrong by becoming this absolute force of justice. Like, no, I'll show that guy Dragon that he should have never left. He should have stayed here with us.
See, the tough thing for me is that they're the same age, and that always makes me think that they're going to be like on the same level, kind of like not strength, but just like they would be contemporaries, right? Like they like either they're both in the Marines and like vying for the same position, and so like they're rivals, or maybe they're just friends, or like maybe they're like a Kobe and Helmeppo thing, which is kind of funny to even parallel here, because like Akainu would be Helmeppo, which is like just wild to even say.
It sounds like an insult, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Which actually I like Helmeppo, but that's a whole other can of worms. But yeah, it's like I always felt like they're going to be kind of even, and if it's a situation where Akainu like looks up to him, or even if Dragon comes and like attacks his island, it's like they should be like facing off, right? Like it shouldn't be a situation, at least in my mind, where Akainu's above Dragon or Dragon's above Akainu, and like one's looking up to the other. It's like they should just be butting heads constantly. Like that's how I kind of think of it. And so for that to work, it's like the easiest thing would be they're both in the Marines vying for the same stuff. Or maybe, like I said, maybe Dragon does go to Akainu's island, and maybe Akainu's the one who stands up to Dragon, and then that's how Akainu gets invited to the Marines. I don't know, but that could actually be its own Kobe thing, because remember, Kobe had to like prove that he was a Marine by fighting against Luffy, and that could be a fun parallel in some way. But I do think there's going to be a Kobe parallel somewhere in here, because the Kobe and Akainu thing is like so well developed at this point, like not only from Marineford, but also Hibari seems to like Kobe, and it seems Hibari is Akainu's daughter, so there's like a weird little twist there. So
yeah, and plus that's been in like all the One Piece spin-offs, right? Like the Choparaimon, Two Piece with Kobe, like the spin-off version. It's like we always have that Kobe, Hibari, and Akainu relationship. So it's like, yeah, I cannot wait for the canon One Piece version. And, speaking of Akainu and Dragon, last chapter, when we got like the double spread of Whitebeard, Roger, Garp, Big Mom, Kaido, and all of them just doing that attack on Imu, I was like, man, we're going to get this again in the future. Of course, I think it could be with like all the Yonko, like, oh, here's Luffy, Blackbeard, Shanks, maybe Buggy, throw him in there for fun. And I was like, well, okay, what if we don't have them? Like, what other 6 characters would I pick? And I'm not going to lie, I think it would go really crazy. Maybe it's the agenda speaking, but imagine we had one with all of the 5 admirals, Kuzan, Kizaru, Akainu, Fujitora, Green Bull, and Dragon, who is of that same age and era, and they all come together and attack Imu. And the one thing that kind of ties them all together is like their different senses of justice, but they all come together to realize that yes, all of our justices agree that this guy is bad. I think that'd be awesome,
love that,
dude. So hype.
I will co-sign that. Like I don't know. I'd have to like really put on my theory cap just to think of like how that even happens. You know what I mean? Because like Green Bull and Akainu are like so ideologically different, and like even for Kuzan to come back and be like, all right, let's team up one more time. Like there's just a lot of moving parts.
It's like the Avengers when all the women stand up. It's like, whoa, but we can do it too.
But you know what else it could be is like, even if it's not the Emu battling thing, you remember how the 3 admirals at Marineford like blocked the wave or whatever from like touching them? It would be kind of cool if like all 6 of the admirals, the 5 we know of plus Dragon, did that, but like for a bigger attack or something. That could also be cool, because it might be like a shared interest where like even if they're not like on the same page, it could be like the Marines wouldn't want Marijois or whatever to get destroyed. Maybe Dragon wouldn't want his Revolutionary Army people getting destroyed by whatever the attack or the wave or whatever it is. So that could maybe be another way of doing the same thing. But I love that idea that all six, but mainly the justice part. That's what I think is super appealing. Where it's like, yeah, we all like have our own ways of viewing justice, but today they all want the same thing. You know,
we
like
all
that,
agree.
Yeah, like that would just, I don't know, man, that would hit for sure. That's like an end of the story type thing. But man, that's good.
We've talked about this multiple times already in different videos, but the Marines being like the good guys in the end, right? Helping the world against the world government. I think that's so in the cards. And what I always go back to is Dragon, because he's talked about how, you know, he was in the Marines and he saw no justice there. I think it's very fitting for a guy that sees no justice within the Marines to lead the other admirals and show them what real justice is all about. And, you know, speaking one more thing on about how Dragon could still be a part of the Marines after God Valley, he did talk to, I believe, Vegapunk, Kumar, Ivankov. I forgot, you know, timeline's kind of hazy. He talked to one of them about how he got training from the Marines as well. So far, in this flashback, we see that he has no training whatsoever. He is the most useless character in a fight on this island. No offense to Dragon, but I think we can all agree he is very green. So I think he will stick around just to at least get some sort of power. Like maybe he does like a battleship bag, or maybe he like learns hockey from like a vice admiral. Like I think he needs something more before he quits.
Yeah, that the Dragon training arc. I want that. I don't know if it'll be like how much Oda will flesh it out. It might be fleshed out to the same degree that like Kuzan's was, which was like in 3 panels. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, yeah. Here's him punching a ship with no hockey. Done. He's strong, guys.
But I do think we're gonna get something like that. Like going back to Kobe. You remember how the thing with Kobe that was like really impressive to Garp was that Kobe would go after they trained and like he trained all night. It was like, wait, so he's doing our workouts in the daytime, but then doing his own workouts at night. Like I had no idea. I want Oda to kind of tread carefully here because I don't want it to make Kobe look bad. But I do think it'd be cool if Dragon was doing something even crazier, right? It's like his training method was just the most insane stuff. Like it would put Zoro to shame. You know, I think that would be pretty awesome because it would just show how serious Dragon is about changing the world. It's like, yeah, I will push myself to whatever limit to save everybody. You know, that kind of thing. So
I'm just trying to think, like, how would you even do that? Like, Kobe already works all day, all night. Zoro's like lifting weights 500 times his size. Like, at this point, Dragon would have to like go into a hyperbolic time chamber and create more hours in the day to train to surpass them. Which,
you know what?
I'm down for it.
Maybe that's what he's doing.
Yeah,
like serious.
Have you guys heard about the 25th hour? That's where Dragon trains.
Do you think it's out of the question that Dragon could use the Abyss circles?
Out of the question, no. Because to me, at least, the Abyss circles and everything Imu's doing, it feels like just pure magic. If it's really just pure magic, surely you can pick up a tome or maybe read an ancient text or, you know, learn things to help you do magic. So I don't think it's that crazy. I think it's going to be something that's very rare, which, you know, when it comes to magic, I'm sure we've talked about this before, but in One Piece Romance Dawn, which are like the prototypes to One Piece, magic was a power system alongside Devil Fruits. Luffy had a Devil Fruit, and then Spiel, one of his first opponents, he had genuine magic. So Dragon learning magic, not crazy. Yeah, he was a clown too, by the way, which was supposed to be like the prototype Buggy, or maybe even like a prototype Emu. We could go as far as say. Mm-hmm, but yes, magic was a real thing.
Yeah, so about Dragon, I'm wondering, you know, going back to this training arc idea in like the hyperbolic time chamber thing, maybe it's like an Abyss thing where he's like, that's what he's training with, or maybe the Abyss can act as like a hyperbolic time chamber, or maybe if we're going to go super crazy, which this is kind of super crazy, but like maybe Dragon would literally opt to go into the underworld, like or the Abyss. I think the Abyss probably is the underworld, but whatever it is, it's like maybe he would opt to go in there and like fight beings that are in there. And it's like, well, I gotta, if I want to beat Emu, if I want to beat these demonic things, I better get used to fighting them. And so like, you know, he was practicing all that stuff. Like, and we talked about this earlier with Blackbeard over on the Redacted channel. Like, I think we are going to come to find out that a couple people have been practicing their pentagrams. I don't think there's got to be at least one non-government person who has figured them out, in my opinion. They're just Blackbeard seems like the most obvious. Dragon seems like the second most obvious. I don't know who else after that, but like I don't think that's an Emu only thing. I think it's something that Emu discovered and is now trying to keep from everybody else. Like they just monopolized it, basically.
Yeah, or maybe Emu is the last of their clan. It could be that back in the day, the Neuronas were just known for magic. He comes from a magical city. Because the Void Sentry is so alien to us. It's like us trying to picture like 5 or 6D entities. It's like, it's not really possible. So it's hard to predict. But I bet when we go back to the Void Sentry, we're going to see like the wackiest things known to mankind. Like maybe back in the day, magic was just a common thing that everybody did. They had rune stones that just were laying around on the ground because they're just so plentiful. But of course, nowadays, only Emu has it, which it's so weird. Because the Holy Land runs off of slave labor. If you have magic, if you have devil fruits, why opt for slave labor? I do think, this is me getting kind of like, crazy here. I think there's going to be a reason why they use slaves. I think there will be a legitimate reason. Like, okay, back in the day, they used X, Y, or Z to fuel their towns, and then this happened. So they have to use manual labor. And same thing with God Valley. I think 900 years ago, there might have been a good reason to have a hunting tournament. Maybe they had to do that back in the day. And then nowadays, of course, it's super warped. And now it's just like they're killing for fun. I wouldn't be shocked if like back in the day, it's like Shandora, right? Where they were sacrificing that girl to the Sky Snake to appease the sun, earth, rain, and forest god. Maybe back in the day, they had to do a God Valley cleansing event as a ritual. And it was like a very serious thing. But of course, it's kind of like Hachi said back on Saboti. After all these years, each generation of celestial dragons get worse and worse and worse. Yeah, no longer is that the meaning. Now they're just killing for fun. Like, nobody knows why they do it anymore, except for maybe Emu. And they're like, yeah, we have to have a cleansing tournament because it's a sacrifice. But the boys thinks it's like a, excursion. They're having fun with this. They're throwing medals around. We didn't do that 900 years ago, but sure, why not?
Yeah, I wonder if part of it's just like using the circles or the abyss is like taxing. Like there's like a limit to it, like in terms of maybe you can only Domi Reversi so many people. Like maybe there's like how Big Mom, like she needs like lifespan. Like she has to continually get lifespan from the people who live in Whole Cake. Like I think she gets 2 months for every year or something like that. Like I wonder if it's a situation like that where basically Emu just has like a limited bank of power to use at a given time, and maybe cleansing people restocks the bank with like, souls or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's like some other way to do it, but like that might be why they use slaves in the meantime, is it's like, well, I'd rather not use my powers more than I need to so I can, keep it stocked up for when Joy Boy returns, sort of thing, right? It's like I don't want to waste it. And so that's why now, like, they only did it every 3 years at the cleansing. Now, even with like Elbaf, with like Emu laid out that like the giants are paramount to winning this war. Like whatever side the giants pick is going to greatly change the outcome. That could be another thing where it's like, well, now like this is important enough to use the circles and Domi Reversi and all that, but a lot of places probably aren't because like they don't need to. So I don't know.
So we know that Ode is a little bit of a snob in a good way. He loves movies, he loves books, he loves pop culture, etc. What if the book that Emu has, that magic book, what if it's like a Necronomicon and he needs the souls of the dead to fuel it? Kind of like what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So he's going around like collecting these souls from the cleansing events. Maybe there's like a bigger reason for it, but maybe it's also, like you said, just to power his powers. Like without it, he's going to die, or without it, the God Knights don't have regeneration or immortality. So that's why they do this. I think there will be like a big old reasoning for it. And soul powers, I think, will be a big thing later on because of Brook, right? He introduced us to soul powers, the chill of the underworld, etc. I think there will be a underworld in One Piece, and maybe that's where God Valley's at right now. We still have that weird mystery where it's like, oh, Shanks brought over, sake from the West Blue, his hometown. It's like, wait, what? Brother, God Valley's gone. Maybe it's not gone. Right. Maybe it still exists in the Abyss Circle, which in the anime, a really weird sequence. Of course, the anime, take that with a grain of salt, but we do know that Otis sometimes works with them. But when Saturn hopped into the Abyss to go to Egghead, he like ran a little bit. Like it was like an actual place. It's not like he just snapped and teleported like Goku. No. he jumped in the abyss circle and he was like fucking moving. So it's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
like something's going on here.
The way that I think of it is that the pentagrams are just like doors to the underworld, and then the underworld is like Blueno's door dimension. Remember how like it was a totally separate dimension? He could still kind of see the real world, but he was like in a separate dimension, and he was able to just like walk through there and re-enter the normal one whenever he wanted. I feel like it's the same thing, but you're going to the underworld in between, and then that supplies like the transformations and stuff. And now I don't know how all that works necessarily. Like, you know, is there like some, like, we know that Emu brought up a demonic contract whenever Dorian Brogy were Domi reversied. So I don't know if going into the circle like initiates some other contract where like legitimate demons who are in the underworld are like Saturn goes in and then this demon comes out and it's like, all right, Saturn, as long as you're in there, like I can come out, right? It's like we have to like exchange places or something.
Yeah.
I don't really know how all that works, but I do feel like it's a door, like just to the underworld in general. And I think
whole different dimension.
In Brooks' time skip, I think they said that in Brooks' time skip, like, oh yeah, this is how we're bringing up Satan from the underworld with this circle. It's like, okay, so this is a portal from one world to the other, right? A lot of some top music parallels there too, I think.
And another thing as well is that people might bring up like, oh, but you know, when Gunko used it on Killing and Sommers, they were just straight up teleported from their rooms. Well, that's because Gunko was bringing them to her. So it's a little bit different than Saturn, like, you know, teleporting himself, because he had to like actually move. But if you're already there, you could just bring people over. That's how I think that works. And another thing too is that this could tie into what we heard about during the Reverie flashback with Sabo. Some guards were talking about a phantom room. That could be another way into the abyss. You open the door and then boom, you're in the abyss. And that's why it's called the phantom room. You hop in there and then you disappear because you're going to get killed by demons, or maybe Emu or the God Knights are just hanging out there chilling.
I think there's a near 100% chance that we go to the underworld at some point. I don't know if that's the whole crew. I don't know if that's just us readers following like Emu's perspective in there. I'm not sure what the mechanism is. But I think this is definitely getting to a point to like where we are going to see what the underworld in One Piece looks like. We're going to that would mean we're probably going to see the souls of Ace and Roger and Whitebeard, right? Like, and then that scares me a little bit because that means that they could potentially come back or something like that.
The meme of like Pedro and Ace and Whitebeard, everybody's saying, "Hey, Luffy, we came back to help you." Like that would be awful. Odin, oh my God, Odin comes back too. Yamato, my number one fan.
So I definitely wouldn't want them to come back normally, but going back to this Domi Reversey thing, part of my idea for it is like, you know how Emu grabbed rocks and like Emu didn't use the circle. Emu just stabbed rocks and like initiated it, and rocks was like, it doesn't hurt or even itch. I'm like, okay, so is Emu just like grabbing his soul or something directly and like manipulating it? You know what I'm saying? Like he's not stabbing his normal body, going back to Blackbeard and being able to like touch the real body or whatever with his devil fruit, whatever that mechanism is. It's like Emu grabbed Rox's like, I don't even know, spirit or something and like altered it in some way. So I basically, I don't know if the people who are in the underworld will come back normally, but I could almost see a Nightmare Luffy situation where Luffy gets all their souls to power him up, right? So it's like they're not back, but they're lending their power to Luffy in a way. Cool. I think something like that could work because it's like a little bit of both, but I don't know. I do think we're going to go there and see the souls, though. I kind of imagine it being a little bit like have you seen Hercules, the Disney version of Hercules?
Yeah.
It came out like 30 years ago now. Well, whenever you go to the underworld there, and I think you meet like Hades and stuff, like everyone's like swirling in a pool, like all the souls are still there. I feel like it's going to be something like that, but maybe like they're frozen in ice because it's cold, but it's going to be something like that. We're going to see all the souls like on display. Here's
a wacky idea, which no real precedent for this. I'm just bringing this up out of random. I just thought of it. What if the Abyss, hear me out, is a dark place, but it has one grand light source there, and that light source is the Eve tree. Sunlight Tree Eve, which is odd. And the reason I bring this up is because we know that it exists in the Holy Land. We know that for a shadow of a doubt. because the roots of the Eve tree is what lights up Fishman Island. It's like, oh yeah, the Eve tree, it gets sunlight from above and it brings it down below. We've never seen it. We've been up top. We've seen the Holy Land. We've seen like multiple angles of it. There's no tree there. So like, where is it? What if we see the tree and like Emu's putting like this magic circle around it and bringing the top half of the tree into the abyss so that there's light in there, which seems odd, but maybe they just want the tree for themselves, or they want like a light source. Yeah,
that I feel like, I mean, I like the idea because of the parallel with like the depths of the sea being the abyss. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's pitch black whenever you go to the bottom of the ocean. Like light cannot reach that far. So it's like, and that's why people call it, like Davy Jones' locker. It's like, that's why, the bottom of the sea already parallels the underworld. Like if you go to the, if you drown, or whenever you drown, that's supposed to be going to Davy Jones' locker. But you also just say that in general when like somebody's going to die. You know what I mean? Because it's like you're going to hell or whatever. So it is interesting that there's already that parallel. And also you think about Hody Jones, who was the main antagonist when we were at the bottom of the ocean, last name Jones. You think about Davy Jones, tying to all that. So yeah, I think that's interesting. I do like the idea that like, the underworld will be like a really dark place, but with one light source, and like it could be the Eve tree. I think another way Oda could do it is like it's the spirit of Nika. Like he's like the only soul that shines or something. I mean, I don't know how Oda would do that in a way that's not like super corny, but I don't know. I like the Eve tree idea though, because we haven't seen the half of it. So
yeah, the top half, I mean, it should be massive as well, right? I mean, the Adam tree, massive. The Eve tree should just be up there in size, but we've just never seen it, unless we're just like seeing like a weird angle of Marie Joie. Maybe it's like growing off like the other side of the wall. Right now, it just makes no sense that we haven't seen it yet. So there's going to be some weird reveal with that later.
Part of me thinks it's going to be like just baked into the red line, like the top of it stuck in there, and I don't know. And like I don't know what like the purpose of that is. I don't know if it means that inside the red line has a secret, which would be really weird if Morley didn't bring it up, because Morley already like dug through the whole red line with his fruit, right? Like, so that's interesting on its own. But, and actually you think about it, Morley also created level 5.5 in Impel Down, and Impel Down's already a, hell allegory because of Dante's Inferno. And so now that he made a level, like a secret level in hell, I don't know. Maybe if there is a parallel there, Morley, digging through the red line, maybe there is something in there. I don't know. But yeah, the Eve tree to me is like that's one of those things that like, it's going to have a massive role. I don't know what exactly.
Imagine it powers Luffy up, and that is why Emu like wants to hide it. Like, oh my god, the sun god needs the sunlight tree Eve, so let me just like put it in the abyss circle, or maybe like you said, it's encapsulated within the red line's walls so that it gets no sunlight. And then Luffy, to become like full powered, he needs that tree. So he has to liberate the tree from the wall or Emu.
Because we already know that like sort of that the red line's supposed to fall because, Fishman Island, is like, there's that future. There's also been things said about, the serpent soaked in blood and how like Dorian Broggie can't break it. It's like, it just, the fact they said that's the only thing they can't break. It's like, okay, so somebody's probably going to break it one day, right? That's like
when they say something like that, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Now it's a feat if somebody else does it, right? It's like, oh wow, so they can do something Dorian Broggie can't do. So like, yeah, I don't know, man. That's a like I said, the Eve tree is going to be a huge thing, especially now that we're in Elbaf with the Adam tree. So that story's got to come full circle at some point. I don't think there's a coincidence that once we find the Adam tree, now we're starting to see all these circles and the abyss and learn about the underworld. Like there's some, Adam and Eve story here for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, it could even tie into like they will never meet again, right? Maybe they're talking about the Adam and Eve tree. Like they're supposed to be together. Maybe they're supposed to be this combined force, but right now they're not.
Major shout out to Birch from my Discord. He's a big tree piece guy. I mean, his name's Birch, so it makes perfect sense. He's been pushing that idea for a while now, that the Adam and Eve trees meeting is what that's all talking about. And now one of my thoughts on that is there are multiple Adam trees, and I don't really understand how that is going to work. Like, are they just clippings of the original that then grew? So like we don't really have to think about them that hard, or I don't that story to me is very interesting, but yeah, major shout out to
It
Birch.
could get
I
really
also
romantic, where it's like, oh, the Atom Tree, it's on a bunch of different islands because it's looking for its long lost lover.
Oh, that would be kind of nice. That'd be Adam was looking like for Eve. That would be a kind of a cool plot line. I like that. And one other tree piece agenda thing that I found out recently, which I still think is kind of shocking, is that like Burka and Birch, like Burka translates to Birch in I forget what language, but like so Burka, you know, being the Sky Island that Enel destroyed, and we're kind of wondering like when Yarouge is coming back to the story, so like this Enel, like I feel like Enel and Yarouge are gonna tie to Elbaf because there's already like a lot of Skypiea stuff there. We still don't know about Burka, but Burka was a trading city in the Viking Age, so I think there's like a whole Elbaf storyline here. And the fact that Burka is basically named after a tree is very interesting, I think. Like, you know, now we're in Elbaf with the Atom Tree. I don't know what the story is there, but I don't know. Burka is going to come back to be massive for sure.
100%. And, you know, shout outs to Burka and shout outs to Enel, because just recently with that SBS, Oda did name drop Enel again, you know. We were afraid he might have forgotten about our boy, but nope. Oda brought up Enel. Because somebody asked, and it was a really funny question. People are roasting the dad. I kind of did as well, I'll admit. But there was like a guy who's like, yeah, you know, my dad was wondering if these characters and cover page stories will ever be relevant, because my dad said that whenever they show up in cover stories, they're just done with. They're forgotten about. And then Oda's like, well, I mean, bro, we have so many people who did appear in the story again. What is your dad talking about? Which is what I said too. It's like, bro, what, hello? Like 90% of the characters have reappeared. Dad, are you even reading One Piece? And yep. Enel was brought up. Enel and Gadatsu.
Mm-hmm. Hey, my guy.
I know, dude.
Gadatsu. I know he'll be relevant one day, man. What's his epithet now? Bathmaster, I believe, is his new
Bath or
epithet.
Spa Master. It's something like that.
Yeah, we're gonna stick with Bathmaster because that is like it's just it like Sanji is the only one who would like that name, I feel like, but it's just I don't know. I think it's hilarious. But yeah, it was funny though, because I read that question too, and I'm like, I don't know if somebody actually asked that question. I feel like this is Oda just wanting to talk about the cover stories. You know what I mean? Because like
propaganda.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Propaganda, dude. I mean, Oda, at the very end of that answer, he even said, yep, now that Yamato's story is done, I bet you want to see her again soon, huh? It's like, well, I mean, yes, but I don't know, man. I would love to see Yamato, but please, not at Wano, not at Wano.
After what we just saw, I'm not sure if there's a whole lot of Yamato stuff, you know, other than Yamato leaving the island. I'm not sure there's anything that would, you know, get me excited for that. So
dude, if we go back to Wano after Elbaf and it's like, hey, Yamato's now talking to Momonosuke, it's like, bro, stop. No, just please, no more. I'm out, coach.
I know
I love Yamato, but please, man, the card base story was just not that great.
Yeah, same. Like I love Yamato. Like whenever he says like look forward to Yamato appearing again, I'm like, yeah, like in a normal circumstance, yes. The last time we saw Yamato was boring as hell, so I don't know if I'm excited, but like Yamato's great. You know, I do think Yamato will rejoin the crew because Yamato specifically said at the end of Wano, like, well, if I keep following in Odin's footsteps, I'll make it out to sea eventually. And Odin in his life made it out to sea right after this point, right? Right after he traveled around all of Wano and got his scabbards, that's when Whitebeard finally showed up. And so I'm like, okay, so now is Blackbeard pulling up? I don't know. Somebody's got to come pick up Yamato. That's what I'm thinking.
Before the Yamato defenders come out of the woodworks, man, there's always somebody who has to like defend the worst things out there. Like, bro, like, oh, it's not that bad. It's like, bro, it is. Compare the rest of the cover page stories. It's like when I talk about One Punch Man, I'm like, hey guys, it's not like awful, but it's not good. They're like, well, I mean, it's not awful, like it's not bad though. It's like, bro, compared to season 1, season 2, and compared to every anime coming out at the same time, like it's bad. Can we just agree? It's fine that it exists, but it's bad. Like, guys, Yamato's story was not great. Minus Moria, like it really was a nothing burger compared to like Jerma, which was the last one.
yeah, we got the Mads like backstory. We got Neo Mads forming. We saw Germa just break in. We also saw Kuzan and Augur pull up to get pudding. Like so many important things happened in a shorter cover story than Yamato's. And Yamato's is like the second or third longest ever, or close to it. It's like only a couple chapters short of the longest, and like nothing happened.
Bro,
like it's
crazy.
It's sad. It's sad that Moria is the highlight because Moria had nothing to do with this. Like he wasn't even there. It was just a post that had his name on it.
People coping. They're like, "Oh, you just want action and cover page stories, bro." We didn't even talk about page 1. That's the thing. When we say that it's good, we talk about Moria, not page 1, ulti, or who's who. Like that's the thing. Like it's not even action, man. And then plus we had like the Babanuki fighter, whoever the Hold'em, not Babanuki. They're like the same person. But it's like, bro, like we just wanted something fun, and we didn't really get that with Yamato's journey at all.
Yeah, like honestly, Tama might be one of the biggest highlights because Tama was able to fight back against Hold'em. And again, that's bad for Yamato because it's like this cover story is good for all the reasons other than Yamato. You know what I mean? Like Yamato was 95% of it, and the other 5% was the peak of it. Like Onigashima being in the water had nothing to do with Yamato, but was still peak. The Kozuki Moria thing, that post has been there for like 30 years probably. You know, like we just didn't see it while we were there. Like none of this is like Yamato doing anything. So I don't know, man. But nonetheless, I'm ready for Yamato to return though. I think, hopefully Oda got all of this BS out of his system and now we can just focus on good stuff,
Dude, hopefully it's here in Elbaf. I mean, maybe Yamato shows up and helps Sanji and Zoro because she does have advanced Conqueror's Haki. That's how you seemingly hurt the God Knights. Imagine she comes in and I wouldn't say mogs the two boys, but like that'd be kind of awesome. Like, hey, what's up? Long time no see. And she could be flying in on Momonosuke, who could easily travel islands. Momonosuke could avoid the sleeping mist. It could get them there like very quickly. Like, I think she has like a great travel buddy in Momo. And of course, like the whole thing of like, all these races coming together. This could be the start of Wano and the Giants holding hands, right? I think it would just be really awesome if that was the case.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I think I think there's a really good chance that Yamato shows up because Yamato is the Oni princess, and we don't really know what Onis are exactly. Like, are they just like a hybrid of, ancient giants and humans or something? Like whatever. It's kind of like Buccaneers. They seem like a sister race to the Buccaneers in a certain way, like the ancient giant version of a Buccaneer, kind of. And now that we're here in Elbaf, where we met a bunch of ancient giants, and maybe Kaido's gonna come back. I feel like he will. I don't know if it'll be anytime soon, but I don't think he's dead. But like we got to get the culmination of that, and how Harold looks a lot like Kaido. There could be like a full circle moment here where Kaido learns about his dad, Yamato comes and I guess learns about Kaido, so everyone's learning about their dad, and I don't know, there could be a kind of a cool story there, but it's
even
like
with Loki,
if there's a time for Yamato to come back, it's now, I think.
Yeah, like Loki's a big Roxy Zebek fan. Of course, Loki never met Kaido, but I like to imagine he kept up with the news. Maybe he's like, "Oh my god, this is Kaido's daughter." I mean, Kaido traveled with my hero. Like that'd be a nice little get around, right?
Well, does anybody know that Kaido had a child?
No,
is that public?
But it's not public, but Yamato announces herself as such.
Okay, because didn't Green Bull, wasn't he surprised?
Yeah, he was surprised whenever Yamato announced it. So I could see Yamato coming to the island, and they're like, "Who are you?" And Yamato's like, "I'm the son of Kaido." And then Loki's like, "Whoa, Kaido! Oh my god,
Kaido had a kid! Whoa, yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I like that.
No, that'd be so freaking awesome.
Because another thing is like, Yamato is not only called the Oni princess, but Yamato also has the guardian deity fruit of Wano. And you think now to Loki having the legendary devil fruit of Elbaf. It's like, is there a parallel there where it's like a prince with an important fruit tied to an island, a princess with an important fruit tied to a different island, both islands tied to the Void Century? Is there maybe some story there? Also, Yamato was like a wolf who had ice powers, and Loki's locked up, in the realm of the dead, which is cold, and a wolf was like his best friend. I don't know if there's some little story there, but I don't know. Bring Yamato back, Oda. We have all the ideas for
Oh,
you.
yeah, and
if you didn't already have them.
if Momonosuke is the one dropping Yamato off, which I think makes the most sense because the boat would take too long, Yamato doesn't know how to sail. If Momonosuke does that, Momonosuke, with the voice of all things, would be able to hear the giants, kind of like how Garp and Roger can hear rocks. Momonosuke comes by,
cool.
and Momonosuke is like, wait, all of Elbaf is crying out. Like, Yamato, something's going on here. And it's like, we could have this amazing thing where, like, Momonosuke doesn't just drop her off, but he sticks around for a little bit, and maybe they help establish relationships between Wano and Elbaf in the future.
Yeah. I really like that. Like, I think what a lot of people are going to say is like, oh, Momo's not going to leave, Wano because it's going to be too dangerous. Like without him and Yamato there, like it's, like they can't leave the island unattended or whatever. But it's like, who's to say that like there won't be some reason that it's driving Momo to drop Yamato off? Like maybe they get attacked and they get overwhelmed. And so Momo's like, well, we gotta go tell them, we got to go let our allies know. And it's like, Momo can probably do it, probably get there and back in like a day. Because I think it took like 2 days to sail over there. But I'd imagine if you're a giant flying dragon in the sky, it's probably like a fraction of the time. So
to give people a great example, Kaido was going to go from the New World to Marineford in a day and a half. And Momo could easily do that in a day and a half too. I mean, and plus you got to imagine Elbaf is closer to Wano than Wano is to Marineford, which is on the other side of the world. So like Momo
close,
can do that.
Actually.
And another thing too is that Wano is isolated. I mean, who would attack Wano during like a day and a half when you don't know what Wano's on about, right? Like if Momo leaves, it's not like that's going to be public information. Like, oh, it's open season, boys. No, like nobody's going to know. Right? The borders are still up, and then plus they still have the scabbards there. Sukiyaki, he was the former leader. He can rule for a little bit while Momo's gone for like a day and a half. Like, the idea that Momo and Yamato come around to Elbaf is not crazy. I mean, hell, even Kinemon could stop by because obviously he would probably want to see how Luffy's doing. And those characters are very specific because those are the 3 characters that Luffy extended an invitation to.
True.
They got the crew pass.
Yeah, that's... what I kind of want is maybe Momo and Yamato show up. And the first thing they say, like, and we don't know they're coming, like they just show up randomly. So like to us readers, it's a complete surprise. Yeah. And I kind of hope they say like, hey, someone came and got Pluton, or,
that'd be
hey,
nice.
Right. Or, hey, Zunisha, like we just had Zunisha break down the walls because this was happening. And it's like, it's basically a reveal like that, major things are happening in Wano, but we don't hear about it till they actually show up. And then we probably jump to another flashback or something. But I think that's a cool way for Oda to introduce like whatever's happening with Blackbeard or Pluton or Cross Guild, whoever gets Pluton. I think that's a cool way, is it's like, hey, somebody already has it. Instead of, hey, we're worried this person's about to come get it. It's like, yeah, they took it. We got cooked. We're here for more help. It's like, oh, dang, stuff is going down.
And going back to the end of Yamato's journey, the title was Another Peaceful Day in Wano. And it's like, I think that's the last peaceful day. I think that's it. I think that's the last peaceful day they're going to have. Like you said, I think something's happening there. So many people want Pluton. So many people want the poneglyph they have. So, like, sure, Yamato can beat off an Admiral, but, I mean, when you're getting attacked by Blackbeard or Cross Guild, like, what do you really do? Right? Yeah, Yamato's strong, but she's not beating Mihawk. Sorry, guys. Yamato's strong, but she's not beating Blackbeard. So it's like there are people that they can't defend Wano from. So maybe they do come for help. Maybe they do come for advice. I think there's a lot that could be there. And this is the final saga, right? Like, it's not like this is like years and years away. Like, no, like after this, we might just go to Marineford or, Roadstar. So like... There's so many things that need to move, and Yamato coming here I think could be great. And plus, you could say, oh, the timeline doesn't match because the cover story just ended. Don't forget, a prominent theory that's still relevant is time dilation on Elbaf. We don't know how time works. I mean, we started this flashback with Shanks saying, hey, it's been 10 years, and Scopper's like, wait, I thought it was only like 2 or 3. Like, what's going on here? It's like, like time is working weirdly here. For all we know, a month has passed, and yes, Wano did get attacked. Yes, Momo did travel from Wano to Elbaf, and it all makes sense. Like, there's a lot of ways this can get glossed over.
Yeah, another, like, cool angle to it is, like, maybe it's just that somebody does come for Pluton, and so Yamato's like, all right, well, I can't let them have it, so I'm just going to take it and get out of here, right? Like, so
Yeah.
Yamato comes riding on Pluton, like, all right, guys, well, hey, I brought it here because I wasn't sure what else to do. Like, which I don't even know how Yamato would, or does Yamato have a Viver card of the crew? Of someone on the crew?
I don't know. But then again, we do know that the Straw Hats were on the news about the whole Vegapunk thing, and they did leave with the Giants. So I think,
Okay.
you could deduce that they're going to Elbath. I mean, that's what the VAs even thought too.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm also thinking, like, Yamato probably has 0 sailing experience, so, like, navigating is going to be completely impossible. But if it's Pluton, the best ship ever, and Yamato has a Viver card, then it's, like, easy mode, so maybe Yamato can actually do it, But I think that'd be really cool. Like, imagine Yamato just pulling up, like, hey, so I have this ancient weapon. I was not sure where else to go. Please help. It's like, somebody
and then maybe
like,
Emu's like, oh my god, it's Pluton. What the hell?
And then Elbath is like, wait, please don't destroy our island. And then we have this really just chaotic situation where Emu's like, okay, like, hey, please, like, Emu's probably even telling Yamato or the crew, like, don't destroy this place. I need it. And it's like, well, then you better get out of here. And it's, I don't know. That'd be such a fun plot line to me. Like, I really want Emu to get scared at some, not even scared, but just like, I want
cautious,
some tactical move where Emu's like, all right, you win this chess battle, but I'll come back,
the chess battle of Yamato just showing up willy-nilly. I love that.
Like, well, I think Nustro even said, like, oh, they have a shrewd decision maker in Wano or something like that because he left the walls up. It's like, so what if that ends up coming back where it's like that decision was, had a huge payoff because Pluton was saved until later.
I just think that's so funny. Yeah, they have they're whoever's making decisions up there, man. They're cooking, and it's really just Momo like doing things on a whim, essentially.
Yeah, vibes only.
Yeah, vibes only. Just hey, let's do this, guys. Come on. I don't think we should open it yet, which is the exact opposite of Odin, because Odin wanted to open it like 20 years ago, which is so funny.
Yeah, it's like it's funny, but I feel like it's also like there's probably a cool, deep emotional plot line there where it's like Momo, why didn't you do what your dad set out to do? It's like this, it wasn't the right time. Like I'm in charge now. I got to be the one who decides, and I think that could be kind of cool.
No, yeah, this is going to be great stuff, man. But that is it for today, guys. Let us know what you thought about this all down below. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel, Daxake. All that good stuff, man. Thank you, y'all, for sticking around to the end. We really freaking appreciate it. Dax, any final words to get us out of here?
Yeah, go subscribe to my channels, Psy Retcon, Syvduck. I know. There's like 6 of them. Hold on, let me go find them. Hold on, I haven't uploaded on some of these channels in a while, so they're slipping my mind here. Psy spoilers, Somnus.
Yeah, Somnus reacts. Yep.
Yeah, don't forget about Somnus. Make sure you guys go subscribe to those for sure. But seriously, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. I feel like I know we meant to talk about Dragon and we got a little bit sidetracked here and there, but hopefully it was intriguing nonetheless. I think we achieved that at least. So
hey, that's what happens, man. We're all about the genuine conversations. We try to stick with like a North Star, but sometimes we just kind of get led astray, which is totally fine by me. But yes, thank you guys again for being here. Dax, thank you for your time. Make sure to check them out for reals. The joke of us plugging each other's channels, it never gets old.